All right, Kwab, it's time for some power rankings. Ladies and gentlemen, if you agree or disagree with our rankings, leave a comment below. Let us know what your rankings are, what you think we went wrong. We won't argue with you. We'll probably laugh at ourselves too. Funniest joke makes the next power rankings. Let's do it. Kwab, you ready?
Yeah, power rankings again.
By the way, this
Again.
is a compromised power rankings for the first. If this is your first time watching a power rankings from us, this is Kwab gives me 10, I give 10. We argue about it for about 15 to 20 minutes through text, and then one of us compromises. Just letting you know, I compromised a lot with this
I
one.
want people to understand that I was driving when he texted me. I almost crashed my car just because when I saw his top four,
Let's talk about
and
it. Let's
I'm
talk about it.
just
I was almost
I'm just
responsible for the death of one of my best
he's
friends.
wilding. I was gonna keep it. He was wilding.
All right, here we go. Coming in at number 10, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. They were fighting with the Sacramento Kings, who have been playing very well as of late as well, after kind of a down January-ish. Pels, man, I think they're very underrated. People don't talk about them. Brandon Ingram's having an incredible season. No one seems to notice. Poor, just no one cares to notice about the Pelicans. We had them higher up early in the season. They've been playing well. To me, I think I wouldn't say they're a dark horse to win the West, but they're a team that's probably going to give someone fits in the first round, maybe right matchup, win in the first round. I don't know if I could see that just because the West is so top heavy, but could go good six, who knows? Maybe they add someone at the deadline. I haven't heard much Pelican trade rumors. But solid team at 10. What do you think, Kwab?
Yeah, we got them with 10. The problem I think we have with the Pelicans is that they have so much talent, and they go through stretches where they look like they're the best team in the West. And then they go through a stretch. You're like, what the hell are y'all doing? What is this team like? What are y'all like? Like you can look at the team top to bottom. They have a lot of different pieces that are just fit and they work in terms. They have shooters. They have size. They have star power. They have guards who can create and get your own shots. They have defensive players. They have defensive guards. But then it's like they go through stretches where like they can't win a game and they're blowing games and they look terrible. Right. So yeah, they're very inconsistent. So we'll see in the playoffs. They, like you said, they could take a team to 6. They look like a team that could be a dark horse, and then or look like a team that'll be out in the first round. So
right,
yeah,
they could take like I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Like they could take like the T-Wolves or like Thunder to 7 games, and it wouldn't surprise me. But they could also get swept, and I wouldn't be like.
I feel like I honestly like this. Not
they
even
could beat the T-Wolves.
I feel like they could beat anybody in the West.
Anybody? Nuggets?
Anybody, and then also lose to anybody in the West. Yes, because they have even like it sounds crazy to say yes, even the Nuggets, but they have size. They have defensive long wings who can match up. So like in terms of
Herb,
Herb, Trey Murphy. In terms of like when you're guarding a movement from the Nuggets, you can switch and like keep everything in front. Like they have different pieces that like that could work, but at the same time, they could like let's say that hypothetically they face like the Nuggets, they could get swept. So it's like that's who they are right now. So yeah, we have them 10.
All right, coming in at number 9, we got the Milwaukee Bucks, who are currently tied for the 3 seed with the New York Knicks. Got leapfrogged by Cleveland. So now sitting at 3, tied at the 3rd spot. 1-3 in the Doc Rivers era. Holla!
You gotta rephrase that.
How did I rephrase it?
You gotta rephrase it to all-star coach Doc Rivers.
My bad, y'all should know better.
Oh, with a losing record, all-star.
Right. 1-3 in all-star head coach Doc Rivers era. Yeah, I mean Middleton kind of went down today. I didn't see the rest of the game, but I know that he left the game. I don't know if he came back. Did he come back? Did you watch the game?
I don't think he came back.
I watched. I followed the first half, and then I had to obviously. I'm in Las Vegas, y'all. That's why you see all this stuff for the Super Bowl. But the Bucks, man. It's just there's something going on. Obviously, people have been saying it all year, which is weird to say about a team that's currently 33-18. But there's something kind of off there. I think that they took for granted Jrue Holiday. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum, and replaced him with Dame, who's someone who's a better offensive player. But Dame's offense, let's be honest, this is his worst offensive season, probably of his career, aside from there's this one like season with the Blazers where he was hurt like the whole year and shot like 40%. But this is his worst offensive season. So you're getting a lesser version of Damian Lillard on top of you're missing Jrue Holiday, on top of the fact you don't have the same coaching scheme or whatever that Mike Budenholzer had. Maybe Doc brought that back. I haven't really studied film with the Bucks yet, but there's something going on. Chris Middleton is not healthy. He's not who he used to be. The Bucks it's weird because it's like the best team that everybody thinks sucks. That I've never seen a team with this good of a record where people are like, nah, they're trash.
Like,
and they've fallen all the way down to 9 in our rankings.
like,
Wow, but I don't know. I know we keep saying the same things. You have anything else to add to that?
yeah, just like they have a great record, and that's like just
And we're like, oh my
like
god, this is a
like
disaster.
it doesn't look right. Like
Yeah.
It's because after the Dame trade, there's championship expectations. Like you said before, like they always had championship expectations, but making the Dame trade was like, yo, they have to definitely win now. To the
Yeah.
point where they fired a coach that had the third highest winning percentage, just because their scheme doesn't look right defensively. They look like they've been playing with more effort defensively now under Doc. Again, we've said this many times. It's just a personnel.
Yeah.
It's just a personnel thing. I don't know if they make any moves to address that before
But what can you
Thursday.
do though? Like, because the thing with drop coverage for people who don't really understand, it's like they like to put Brook and drop right off of pick and roll, but drop coverage really only works if the person who's coming off of the screen, the person chasing the screen. So, like, let's just say Damian Lillard's guarding the screen. He gets screened. He has to navigate around the screen. That's what people call screen navigation or getting around the screen and applying pressure on the back end so that so the shooter feels pressured while Brook is dropping.
Yeah.
Like Brook just can't. If Brook's just dropping and there's no one there to pressure the ball, it's easy. And I think the Bucks took that for granted with Drew Holiday. And I think this goes back to kind of my rant when I was talking about the Knicks, and I'm not trying to relate this to the Knicks, but it's sense where it's like the Bucks got Damian Lillard, which is a name, who's a top 75 player of all time, who's good offensively, and people just think automatically, and we're guilty of this too.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, how are they going to stop him?
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. Like offensive schemes matter, defensive schemes matter, and that's what I meant in last episode. And we're figuring that out with the Bucks. Not to say they don't have the ceiling to win a championship, but they're just not showing it right now.
Yeah, I think I remember when the trade went down, we are just like, yo, how are people gonna how are you gonna guard this? We never said, yo, how are they gonna guard? We never
we did for a little bit. We were like, nah, who cares? Who gives a shit?
But we did like, yo, we were just like, damn, how are you gonna be able to match up with so much? They're struggling, but I mean, there's still a lot of time left for them to figure out.
Yeah.
And granted, like we keep saying, they still have a winning record. So if they're able to figure it out before the playoffs, they still have a chance of coming out the East. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 8, it's the Phoenix Suns, who just beat the Milwaukee Bucks right before we recorded this podcast. 7-3 in their last 10. They've been playing very well as of late. They do have a lot of fourth quarter lapses for a team that has Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, which is kind of weird. I think Bradley Beal has fit in nicely. They're a team that I think, just needs. Nurkic is a problem on the defensive end. He's probably going to get played off the floor in the playoffs. But right now we're not talking playoffs. They've been playing pretty well. They've gotten healthy, and I think it's not a coincidence that, hey, a team with a lot of talent that's gotten healthy is playing better.
Yeah.
So they're slowly climbing up, but not really sure about their chances in the playoffs. But that doesn't matter right now. We're just talking power rankings. What do you think, Kwab?
Do you think that they would benefit from having an actual point guard on the team?
What's funny? I think they would, but I think that point guard could be like Alex Caruso, who's like defensive-minded, ball pressure, can guard the perimeter. He can guard players, taller than him as well. They need someone like that, because like a Tyus Jones, they would benefit from it. But at the end of the day, they need to get stops. They need to find a way to get ball pressure on the defensive end. Like Grayson's okay on the perimeter, and Kevin Durant when he wants to play D, he's fantastic. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like their plan in the playoffs is going to be to outscore people. And honestly, you have a couple teams that I think can just do it better than you, even though you have phenomenal talent. You rely too much on a pull-up jumper, mid-range jumper. The ways in which you can score the basketball, as weird as it sounds, is just kind of like isolation pull-ups. It's not so much like off of a pick and roll through the flow of your offense. You know what I mean? Whereas other teams, you can do that. So that's where I worry about the Suns.
Makes sense. That makes sense. I think it just like you said, it feels like they going into the playoffs. There's just gonna be we have more firepower than you and try to outscore you. And it might
will for a couple games. It might win a series that way.
Yeah,
but
it might work.
I think Yeah, when you go up against a team like the Clippers right now, who like,
Yeah,
yeah, go outscore like the James Harden pick and roll and the Paul George mid range and the Kawhi mid range and the 3-point shooting they have, like that's a team that can score in many different ways from many different angles with very different like schemes and offenses. Like
yeah.
the Suns, they just don't.
They just don't. I think they're hampered. Part of it is also they're hampered by how big those 3 contracts are. So
Yeah,
a lot they like we talked about this way before. Like they did a great job being able to like sign pieces around those players, but I don't. I just asked a question about the playmaker just because it. There are times when I'm like when I watch them, I'm like, they need to be. They feels like they need to be better organized, or they could get easier shots, and
yeah.
it's
They're such good shot makers that they take like shots they don't have to take sometimes.
that yeah, and that's the
Yeah,
and I realize that because when you have like when you're watching like a like generational talent, which and generational scores, it's kind of like yeah, it doesn't matter. Like they'll get the bucket, but sometimes like you could get an easier shot than that. Like
right.
you could
No,
easily get an easier shot than that. It could so moving forward, I think they'll probably be okay in the playoffs. I don't know what if they're gonna make any moves. I think the rumor I heard that they're interested in either PJ Washington or Miles Bridges from the Hornets.
the Miles one I've heard. Yeah,
Yeah, which I don't know how that necessarily helps them moving forward, but yeah. Yeah, so
we'll see.
we have them where we have them. So
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, who knows? I mean,
yeah,
they're talented, so they can move up. All right, here's where it gets dicey. Coming at number 7 is the New York Knicks. Not happy about this. I completely compromised and lost this fight with Kwab. The Knicks are now 16-3 since the OG Anunoby trade. They have been running through the Eastern Conference, very similar to another team that's higher than them right now, which I'm not mad that the other team's higher than them, even though I think they're better than the other team. But I think 7 is a crime. I think it's criminal. You can say that I'm delusional. I don't think I'm delusional. Like I said, 16-3 in the past, in the calendar year, moving all the way up to tied for third in the Eastern Conference. Offensive, defensive rating out of control with OG on the floor. Just a lot of good things I'm seeing for the Knicks. I'll repeat what I said from last episode. I think they're in the conversation to win the East. I'm not saying they're favorites. I'm not saying I'm picking them. I'm just saying that when you talk about the road to the Eastern Conference and who wins it, the Knicks are in that discussion. But right now they come in at 7 criminally. I'm a good friend. I'll just say that I'm a good friend.
look,
I'm a good
man,
friend.
you wanted them at like 2 or 1.
I didn't want him at 2. No. Don't lie. Don't lie. Don't lie to the
I'm
public.
capping.
I did
I'm
not want
capping.
them at
I'm
2.
capping. I'm
I did-
capping. I'm capping. You had him like top 4, and I was like, hold on, like you need to relax. You need to relax. I saw
We're
them.
we're talking about teams that are
I got
playing
the
right. You just said this. Teams that are playing good right
I got the
now.
notification on my phone, and it was like
Tell
I see the top 4 teams. I'm like, did this man put the Knicks as a top 4 team right now?
who's playing better?
You had them over teams that are playing way better than them in the West, and I
Who?
was like,
Who?
you had them over the Thunder.
Did I?
Yes,
I did not.
yes, yes, brother, yes, yes. That's why I was like, yo, your bias is showing. You gotta relax.
But who's playing the Knicks have been playing the best basketball in the calendar. Them and the
Okay,
Cavs.
okay. I am not saying they're playing bad, right?
Right.
But then the argument could be made. Who have they played during the
They beat
stretch?
the T-Wolves, Sixers. They beat the Heat. They've beat there's another team that they beat that was really good. It's not coming to my head right now. But they have beat teams. They've beaten up on bad teams too. I'm not gonna lie.
Those are the 3 like arguments, the 3 teams you can make. That like those are the most competitive
Denver.
team.
Denver. They beat the world champions.
They beat the world champions.
They
Okay.
beat the world champions.
Okay.
They beat the 2 teams in the NBA finals by combined 54 points.
That was last year.
They beat the 2 teams that were in last year's NBA
Okay.
finals by combined 54 points.
Okay.
Back to back.
Which is fine. Which I completely understand that, right? And we had them. I think I forget where we had them last week, but my issue with it is like, yes, they beat these teams, but one, they lost to the Lakers, And to
Without,
me,
come on,
let me
bro.
let me get to my let me slow roll to
Are
my
you
point. Let me slow
okay,
roll to my point, please,
you're
brother.
right.
Let
I'm
me
sorry. I'm sorry.
the reason why, and this is the problem. The reason why they lost to the Knicks was because they were injured and their pieces were out, and that's why I had the
Who wait,
Cavs higher than them. What
wait, who
happened?
lost it? Who
What?
lost to the Knicks with
I'm
their pieces
sorry.
out?
They
Oh, lost
lost
to
to the
Lakers.
Lakers. They lost to the Lakers
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
because your important players were out, and that's the reason why I have the Cavs higher than them because the Cavs have also been on a win streak, but they're getting healthy while the
Yeah.
Knicks are getting injured. The one good news I saw earlier today was that Mitchell Robinson is he's slowly working back, so he should be back soon, which I think is
Yeah.
amazing. So hopefully he comes back. Julius gets back also, and you guys get right back on track. But my concern with the team is always, and you know this, has always been the health of the team. They're not healthy. They're not. That's why. That's the only reason you guys lost to the Lakers. Like
Right.
that's because they did was like, yo, we're just gonna double the shit out of Jalen and
Right.
force somebody else to beat us. And you try to rely on Precious and Josh Hart, and it didn't go well. That's the only reason you guys lost,
Okay.
and
So here's my
that's the only reason
okay.
I
Okay.
had a
Fair.
I had no.
Fair.
That's it. That's
Fair.
it. It's not
Fair.
about them playing bad. It's that
Okay.
I'm looking at where they are in the standings,
Yeah.
how they're playing,
Right.
and I'm looking at how you're projected, like how you're looking moving forward. Jalen got hurt today, like because Tibbs has to play everybody 59 minutes
That was not well, Jalen, they were blowing a lead. I'm not gonna blame Tibbs for that, but you're right. Tibbs has to have, like, a 73-point lead with
to be
3 minutes left to go to
to
take
feel
players out.
comfortable, which fine,
So
I get. That's all I'm saying.
okay, fair.
That's
Listen, my only question to you, this
okay.
is my only question to you. My only
Okay.
question to you. If Jalen was healthy, if Julius was healthy, and if OG was healthy, same results, like they lost Lakers, would you have them in the top 5 right now?
Would I have him in the top 5? Yeah.
Okay. Alright,
Easily.
that's all I wanted to hear. Okay,
Easily.
fine. Then we kind of
Easily.
agree.
If
We agree on shit.
no, even put it this way. If OG was just healthy, you guys are not losing to that. You're not losing that Lakers team. If
I know,
J
let's
if
just say hypothetically they
if
did.
if OG and Julius are healthy, I don't this streak is still going on. Like it's
Yeah.
still going on just because it's like a perfect fit since the trade. It's been
Okay.
perfect. That's but the way the
Okay.
injuries keep piling up on y'all,
Right.
like
But almost crashed your car though? You almost crashed your car when you saw that?
yeah, I shouldn't be texting and driving, first of all. Yeah.
You was like, really? That surprising? You act like I put, like, the Jazz
That
in the
shit
top
popped
5.
up. I was like, the Knicks. It was I was like, did he put
Alright.
the Knicks?
Alright, let's move on. Coming in at number 6, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves just blew a 20-plus point lead to the Chicago Bulls. They've been pretty good since
Hey,
their hot start, but, like, not
hey
they're
man, we
not they
might we
haven't
might we
been
might we might have to move the T Wolves lower than the Knicks though, bro.
I agree, but this is just out of respect for the fact that they're, I think they're second now. Maybe they fell to the third after this loss
Yeah.
in the Western Conference. They've been doing it all year. I think the respect is there. I still think, thinking about them on defense, even though their rating has gone down in the past couple months. Offensively, they struggled in the half court. They struggle all the time in the half court, especially end of games. They need to figure that out because give the ball to Anthony and pray is not going to work in the playoffs. Even though I like Anthony Edwards, that's further down the line. I
Yeah.
think teams are catching up to them. I think their hot start wasn't so much a mirage because I think they're good, but I don't think it was like, oh my God, we need to start paying attention to Timberwolves because they won the championship good. I think we have to take a step back. Good team, not there yet. I think 6 feels kind of right. I'm with you, obviously, because I had the Knicks at 4 in my rankings. But yeah, they're a good team. They're just, to me, I think they're settling into what they really are right now.
Do you put them in the same like category as which is kind of funny because they're players on that were on similar teams. The same category as the Jazz when the Jazz were like the number 1
No,
seed a couple years back. Was it
no,
or was it
because
last? And we're like, yeah, nobody cares about the Jazz, even though they're the best team in the West. Like we're like we're like,
that's
why is
true. Yeah, no
nobody?
one picked the Jazz. No one picked the Jazz for
No
anything,
one
bro.
picked the Jazz. The Jazz had the number one number 1 seed all throughout, and we were like, yeah,
That's actually
whatever.
that's hilarious. Yeah, they were the one. I mean, they're not the 1 seed anymore.
Yeah,
And honestly, I think when you heard the dialogue about the Jazz back in the day, it was no one believed.
at
But when
all.
you talked about the dialogue that was going on early to start the season, I was like, yo, the Wolves, man, they play defense. Like teams are gonna have a hard time scoring against them. I think people were starting to believe, like, yo, this team not gonna maybe not win the championship, but they're contenders for sure. And don't get me wrong, like to this day, I in 2 weeks they could run off 8 straight, go back to their old ways, and I'm like, oh, they maybe they figure something out in the half court. You know, maybe Mike Conley starts playing better. Maybe they get like a Tyus Jones or someone else to kind of run the point. If you know what I mean, who knows? But they're there. They're right there. So if you're a T Wolves fan listening, I think you're right there. I think you're a threat. I think you should be taken seriously. You're just thinking, let's be honest, the Wolves have tapered off since their hot start, and they're playing good basketball. They're just playing great basketball. And to be number 6 in the power rankings, that's still really freaking good. All right, coming in at number 5, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, the hottest team in the league right now. Now up to the 2 seed. As Kwab said before, they're getting healthier. Mobley's back. Garland is back. They didn't miss a beat. A lot of people thought that this team was going to be tanking with these injuries, and Donovan Mitchell has pretty much kept them afloat along with, a lot of bench pieces, good shooting. Shout out to them because they're flying under the radar. I hate to say it because obviously I'm a Knicks fan and I feel like the Knicks should be getting credit, but this is a team that should be getting just as much credit, if not more credit than the Knicks right now. And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. Shout out to them. To me, they don't really scare me too much in the playoffs. I think they're just going through a really hot streak right now. But a team you absolutely have to take seriously. And to be honest with you, like we have them at 5, you could make the case. I put the Knicks at 4 in my personal rankings. You can make a case for the Cavs playing top 3 basketball in the league, maybe even better. Like if it was just kind of like who's the hottest team in the league right now, they could be, up there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to fight you on this one, Kwab.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. They're trending up, so like that's the only reason I have them high. They're trending up, and you're getting healthy. Yeah. So, and your Knicks are still trending up, but they're hitting bumps in the road. So let's hopefully it smooths out.
They lost 1 game. All right, whatever.
The injuries, bro. It's just the injury.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. Coming in at number 4, it's the Denver Nuggets. I feel like with the Nuggets, it doesn't matter where we put them. Right? It's like,
are they bored? Like, do you think like
kinda?
Are they like playing sometimes? Like, yeah, we'll wait till the playoffs.
I mean, I think so. Sometimes I just think that like at the end of the day, like it's like when you're talking Cavs and T-Wolves and Knicks and all these teams that are kind of like, man, like we're trying to get to the level where the Nuggets are or where the Celtics are, and like, man, we're trying to make a name for ourselves. Like it's fun to hear your team top 5 in the power rankings. It's an honor to hear them. And but for the Nuggets, like if I'm a Nugget fan, it's like I don't give a shit. Like who the fuck cares? Like, oh, we're 4th. Yeah, see us in the playoffs. It's like it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So for me, we have them at 4 just because like they've been playing well, but they haven't like been killing it like other teams ahead of them. So it's like, but who cares, right? Who gives a damn? Like honestly, like if you're a Nugget fan, do you fucking care that you and I have them at 4? No,
probably not.
Because at the end of the day, when we talk about them, you and I both know, yeah, they're probably favorites in the West, if not the championship.
Yeah. When you're playing, they're very hard to beat. When you're playing the right way, they're very hard to beat. So, I like you said, yeah, like you perfectly put it. Like I don't think they care or fans care where they are, and they're just waiting for their real season to start, which is the playoffs. It just feels like that when I watch them. Like they go through stretches where I'm like, yeah, they're not playing hard today. You could tell.
Yeah. And I think as long as we don't have them outside the top 5, we're not really disrespecting them.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be 1 next week because they'll win by a couple. Yeah, who cares? Like it's almost like they're used as a chess piece in these rankings to kind of like bolster other teams to show you like, oh, they put them in front of the Nuggets. They must be playing well. Like that's what it's like.
Yeah, I can.
All right. Yeah, it's the weirdest analysis I can give. It's just, but it's honest. All right, coming in at number 3, it's the Boston Celtics. This is a team that you talk about another team that's bored. I think the Celtics are pretty bored right now, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, they just beat the crap out of the Memphis Grizzlies, but before that, they lost to the Lakers at home without LeBron and without AD. And it's just kind of like, so what? Like they're 38-12. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I have a lot of questions about how they're going to run offense late in games in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, it is kind of like, known right now. It's like everybody in the East is chasing the Celtics. Everyone thought it'd be Celtics Bucks. It's really Celtics, and then there's like a slight tier, and then it's everybody else. And until they start losing a couple games in a row in the fashion the way they lost to the Lakers, I'm not changing that.
My thing with Celtics is this, right? With the Nuggets, right? They have kind of earned the right to be like bored because they've won the chip. They did it.
Have they though?
They like
Well, the Nuggets have. The
the Nug
Celtics though?
no, the Celtics have it. That's my point. Like the Celtics
Oh,
have
they
it.
don't have the right.
Yeah, they don't have the right. The Nuggets have
Gotcha.
earned
I
the
agree.
right
I
to
agree.
have like lackadaisical like games here and there just because like they know who they are and they haven't figured out. My concern when I watch the Celtics is that they do that Jekyll and Hyde thing, and it drives me crazy when I'm like, you shouldn't lose to the Lakers if they don't have those two players.
Right.
Like the certain losses, like if you want to be a championship team, you should go out there and just kill these teams, especially with the
Yeah.
amount with the talent you have, your top seven, whatever it is, you should be killing these teams. And it brings up like the inconsistencies that they've had in the past in the playoffs, where we watch them like years past, like against the Celtics and the Heat, where they'll go through stretches when we're like, do you guys know what the fuck you're doing, or like do you guys like what are you
They just start taking step back threes, and it's just like, oh, okay,
like why
all
is
right,
this why like
yeah,
why is this the play, and why won't Joe Mazzulla call a timeout? Why it's like it's just
yeah.
it
It's like
gets
they stop forgetting like what makes them so good. It's weird.
yeah, it's weird. So like I
Yeah.
hope I hope like it's not they don't revert back to that during the playoffs just because they have such a talented team, and it feels like they won't just because of the additions they have now with Drew and Porzingis. But yeah, I that's why I differentiate them between them and like the Nuggets when we talk about like the team that's kind of like yeah whatever we'll take this loss. They got to be way more consistent.
I agree, and like now I'm thinking about it. They've had two outside of the Lakers loss. Like they lost their first home game against the Nuggets,
Mm,
and then they got smacked by the Clippers,
yep,
and the Clippers are on a back to back
on
too.
the back to back. Yeah,
So those are two games where it's like, all right, like this is like a statement. I wouldn't say statement game, but it's like, all right, make a name for yourself. Like this is like show us what you got, and they've lost both of their games. So I guess from a Celtic fan, that could be like, I mean, it's against Western Conference teams, so it's not against like the Knicks or the Sixers or someone in the East who you're going to have to face. But it's still kind of concerning where it's like, all right, we had two championship contenders coming to our crib, and we lost both of them in a year where we were undefeated. So, yeah, you're right. I agree with you. I think you hit it right in the head where it's like, yeah, we don't have the right, or we didn't earn the right to sleepwalk through the regular season.
yeah. But again, they have the best record in the East, so that's
Why you gonna
yeah.
do?
What are you gonna do?
All right, coming in at number 2 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder.
The Thunder.
They are right now the number 2 seed, 35-16. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. SGA's an MVP candidate. Just same things we said last time we had the power rankings. Playing really good basketball. I think they could use a bigger body at the trade deadline. We'll see if they get somebody. Aside from that, I mean, it's kind of weird to think of them as championship contenders because they're so young. But I mean, with the way they're playing, you got to take them seriously. And they've been playing great basketball for the past like 2 or 3 months. So shout out to the Thunder.
Yeah, shout out to the Thunder. Yeah, even though you had the Knicks higher than them, but the the like you said, I completely agree with you though. About that if they might need a bigger body or make a move here and there. Some of the names that have been rumored have been like Kelly Olynyk and like Dorian Finney-Smith. Just like maybe
I think they need more of a defensive minded, like guard, like forward, like power forward center. I know they have Chet there, but it's like he's the only one, man.
yeah, he's the only
Like,
like big that like. But the other things to me, if they get another big, I feel like they still need a big that can still stretch the floor. Just because that's a big product of how they play, in terms of
yeah,
like their space allowing like the drives with like SGA and Jalen Williams and even
yeah.
Giddy. But I don't. I find it funny just because like you said we don't. It's not really a team that years ago we would be talking about all their contenders. We're always talking about they just want to stack up draft picks and just keep stacking up draft picks and trades and draft picks, and a lot of people thought that they wanted to like they were gonna trade SGA eventually or something. It was always like the talking point.
Don't get me started.
Yeah,
Don't get me
that's why I mentioned it. That's why this was another when it was like a stupid hot topic where you I remember you getting an argument about it. We were like, you're not gonna trade SGA. That makes no
on
damn
Spaces.
sense.
I'm not gonna say who I got in the argument with, but it honestly turned me off from Twitter Spaces. Like that's how bad like it pissed me off. But yeah.
Yeah. So it was like they have like you said, an MVP candidate. They have a very fun team, and they keep winning and trending up. I wonder if they plan on making no moves and just trying to see what they look like in the playoffs, which is that could be a possibility where they're just
Yeah,
like,
maybe. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they got like an Andre Drummond or some shit like that, like someone who can
yeah,
just grab yeah, something like that, something small, and then like you always have like the waiver wire, the buyout market later in the year.
Drew.
So yeah, you're right. I mean, so what are you going to give up at the end of the day? I mean, even someone who rides the bench like Trey Mann, like you can get something better for him. And I'm not trading Trey Mann for like a backup 4. Trey Mann gets started some teams. So
But they have so many. If you go to a roster,
they're
they have
so
so many,
talented.
yeah, they have
They're
so
so
many
talented.
young, talented players that
It's
like could
insane.
probably play
It's insane.
minutes for people, and they're just kind of just chilling. So
It's insane.
yeah,
And yeah, shout out to everyone who thought SGA be gone. Like you just triggered me. But
I know.
it was just
I'm sorry. I apologize.
because it was so stupid. People were like, "Well, why don't we just go get SGA? Like, let's just go get him." But what are you gonna give? What are you gonna give Sam Presti for SGA? I don't know. He wants picks. Just give him picks, as if he's like a fucking crackhead. Like if you just throw him crack, he's just gonna take it and just fucking picks. Oh, I want these picks. Oh, that's all I care about is
More
picks.
picks.
Just give me more picks. Like that's what they thought. Like Knicks fans were like, "Yo, let's just go get SGA." Like,
But
yeah, let's just go get him. Throw picks at him. Like that's all Presti wanted. It drove me insane. And
that's
shout out to Presti, shout out to the Thunder. They had a vision. They saw it, and now they're reaping the benefits of keeping one of the best players in the league
yeah
and not just giving him up for picks.
for just picks. I mean, it doesn't it never made sense. It's kind of like now what I used to see what I see now, which kind of annoys me. Where people were like a lot of Nets Twitter was like, yeah, just go get Donovan Mitchell. And
Yeah, just go get him.
I'm like
Just
Donovan
go get him.
Mitchell. You're second in the East. You think he wants to leave and be like, yeah,
Right,
trade me to the Nets? Like,
right. And the Cavs are like, okay,
yeah, sure. Well, whatever. Here you go. Here
yeah,
you go.
okay.
Cool. The one, my only going back to the Thunder, my only wish that never happened, and I still go back to is that I wanted them to tank so bad for Victor Wembanyama. I
Yeah, I remember
really,
that. Yo,
I
that was one of my favorite moments of our podcast last year,
I
bro.
was oh man. I told like I to this day it's still
That's good though.
it bothers me because I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I saw Victor play and I'm like, I just imagine Sam Presti was just sitting there was like, perfect. I'll see you guys later. I got it. I got
Everybody take a year off.
take the
Everybody
year off.
take a year off.
He's like
On me. Take a
SGA.
vacation.
SGA, the check cleared. Stay home. What? Stay home. The check cleared, brother. You're good. Like I was like, yo.
But Chet's good, man.
Chet's great.
Yeah.
Chet's great. He's in the rookie of
Yeah.
the year. He's in the rookie of the year case. But they could have had both Chet and Victor. That could have been your front line. That could have been your front line because Chet
You
got
put Chet.
drafted.
Oh yeah, because Victor
Chet
plays
was
the 4.
heading. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Victor at the 4.
Yeah. Victor the 2. It doesn't matter. I wanted to see it. I was ready. If I was there, they would have fired me if I worked in the front office because Sam Presti would be like, yo, get out. I would have been like, nah. I'm like, you see this kid? What are we doing? We're like, we're out here. We're winning games. He's 7'3". He can play point. Put him on point. Put an SGA to 2. We're gonna figure it out, man. Put Chet at a 3. I swore they were gonna take for Vic. Yo, I was like, it's gonna be a take.
Oh
It
man.
never happened. But yeah,
Oh.
but bringing it back to reality. Yeah, they have a really fun team. They have really great young players, and on
Yeah.
top of that, they have like really talented young pieces that don't play. Like I just remember Poku's on that team. Pokuchevsky is on that team. And He's just I don't know if he's hurt or. And I remember also, my friend used to send me highlights of him, and I'm like, oh, he's amazing. Like, but like they just they just have a fun team. So I wonder.
Yeah.
I've been saying this. I feel like for every team, but I don't know if they make any moves. But they're playing really great in the West, and yeah,
Yeah.
SGA could. It's an MVP conversation, and he could possibly win it this year.
Yeah, he could.
Mhm.
All right. Last but not least, the Los Angeles Clippers. We were wrong. We were wrong, or I was wrong. I think
I don't remember
we
what I
don't know yet.
said.
I'll say I was wrong.
Okay.
I was wrong. I'm not going to assign. I was wrong because I thought this was a disaster of a trade for the Clippers. I did. I didn't think that they would figure it out. I didn't think not that they didn't have the personnel. I think a lot of it had to do with the personalities on the team and the injuries and the health of the team. But I mean, I'll be the first to apologize. Like, yeah, this that was just an awful call. I mean, they're the best team in basketball. They've been the best team in basketball since they started off 0-5 or whatever it was at Harden. They've been the best team in basketball.
I mean,
And
you didn't look like you were wrong when they started out. They
no, but
looked
I mean,
nuts.
obviously, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm having a conversation with someone, like, "Were you right about the Clippers?" Like, "Well, guys, listen, the first 5 games, like, it doesn't matter." Like, I just like, I'm embarrassing myself at that point. At this, I have to admit that I was wrong, that it wouldn't work out. And obviously, we're going to see in the playoffs. I might have to retract that statement if they lose in the first or second round, which I don't think they will. I think right now they're the favorites to win the West, even more than the Nuggets, more so than the Nuggets. I mean, I know Nuggets won the championship this year, but I would make the case that the NBA is better this year. There are better teams this year. So the Nuggets are going to have to play better than they did last year. And the Clippers are a team they're going to have to go through. They outside of maybe defensive, I know they have to be better at rebounding the basketball. That's their only weakness to me is like they can get beat up inside. And, they have different ways to score. Russell Westbrook off the bench has been playing better. They're deep. Norman Powell is one of the best bench scorers. Like their options are just Terrence Mann is good. Amir Coffey has been playing really good energy, bringing a lot to the table. They're a really freaking good basketball team. And if they are healthy, man, it's gonna be that's playoffs. Like that's down the line. But right now, this day, February 6th, when we're recording, they're the best team in basketball.
I agree. I completely agree. They have everything like
Yeah.
on the roster. Even if they have to go against, like you mentioned, go against a team like the Nuggets, they have, and if everybody's healthy, they have Zubac, Daniel Tice, and Plumlee. Like they have three bigs who can all three like they've started before and have different skill sets that he can throw in there. You could actually make the argument that they might have the most talented roster in the NBA. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
from,
And this is something I said for the past 2 years, like, "Oh, the Clippers are deep." And everybody was like, "Oh, the Clippers are deep. The Clippers are
yeah,
deep." They're still deep.
they're still deep. Yeah,
Deep.
yeah. And I was I was a couple of days ago. Somebody was like, "Yeah, PJ Tucker doesn't even play for them," and I was like, "Oh shit, PJ Tucker's on that team." Like, I was
Yeah,
like, I forget, I forgot.
yeah,
I was like, damn, he's on that roster. He doesn't even play for them. If again, if they're healthy, they're gonna be really hard to beat. I think
yeah,
though one issue that they had before they made the trade for James Harden was that they were worried about your offense always bogging down
yeah,
during long stretches during games, and that's one reason they pushed so hard to make the James Harden trade. And right now, it looks like a home run. Like
yeah,
on top of that, the couple games I've watched, like Paul George hasn't really like played that well. Like he's kind of just chilling, and then he'll show up and like, okay, I'm just gonna score 20 real quick, and then relax. I'm like, they have a deep roster. Kawhi looks healthy, and he looks like he's playing when he was on the Raptors and the Spurs. Do you think it's championship or bust right now for them?
yeah, I do.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I mean, they can win it.